What if I told you that a single man, born with almost nothing on the harsh Mongolian steppe, would go on to create the largest contiguous land empire in human history? An empire so vast it stretched from the shores of the Pacific Ocean all the way to the forests of Eastern Europe. An empire whose warriors could travel faster than any army of its time and whose conquests were so devastating that they actually cooled the global climate by reducing human population and farmland. This is not a legend. This is the true, breathtaking, and often terrifying story of the Mongol Empire. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most extraordinary chapters in human history. Over the next 10 minutes, we will follow the incredible journey from a lonely boy named Temujin, fighting for survival, to Genghis Khan, the universal ruler. We'll witness lightning-fast conquests that shocked the medieval world, the golden age of Mongol power under his descendants, the division of the empire into mighty khanates, and finally, the slow but inevitable collapse of the greatest land empire the world has ever known. So, let's ride out onto the endless grasslands where it all began. The year is approximately 1162. Deep in the windswept plains of Mongolia, a boy named Temujin is born into the Borjigin clan. His father, Yesugei, was a minor chieftain, but when Temujin was only 9 years old, his father was poisoned by a rival tribe during a feast. The family was immediately abandoned by their own clan, left alone on the steppe with nothing but a few horses and some basic supplies. Temujin, his mother Hoelun, and his siblings faced starvation. They survived by digging for roots, catching fish with their bare hands, and eating whatever small animals they could find, including rats and marmots. These early years of hardship shaped Temujin like fire tempers steel. He learned the harsh laws of the steppe. Strength, cunning, and loyalty were everything. At one point, he killed his older half-brother in a dispute over food. Later, he was captured by enemies, locked in a wooden yoke, and forced into slavery, only to escape through sheer willpower and cleverness. By his early 20s, Temujin had begun gathering loyal followers. He married Berte, a woman from a neighboring tribe who would become his most trusted advisor and lifelong companion. When she was kidnapped by a rival tribe, Temujin launched a bold rescue mission that not only saved her but dramatically increased his reputation and power. After nearly 2 decades of brutal tribal warfare, clever alliances, and ruthless elimination of rivals, Temujin finally achieved what no one before him had done. In the summer of 1206, at a grand Kurultai, a massive gathering of Mongol tribes on the banks of the Onon River, he was proclaimed Genghis Khan, meaning universal ruler or oceanic ruler. This was not just a new title, it was the birth of a new nation. Genghis immediately began revolutionary reforms. He broke up the old tribal loyalties that had caused endless feuds. Instead, he created a new military and social structure based on merit. Even former enemies could rise to high positions if they proved loyal and capable. He introduced the decimal system, armies organized into units of 10, 100, 1,000, and 10,000 men. He created an elite personal guard called the Kashig. Most importantly, he enforced iron discipline. Desertion or betrayal meant death, not just for the individual, but often for their entire family. The result, the most mobile, disciplined, and terrifyingly effective army the medieval world had ever seen. With his new nation unified, Genghis Khan wasted no time. He first turned west and crushed the western Xia kingdom. Then he launched a full-scale invasion of the powerful Jin dynasty in northern China. In 1215, Mongol forces captured the Jin capital of Zhongdu. The city was looted and burned so thoroughly that smoke reportedly lingered in the sky for months. But the campaign that truly announced the Mongols to the world was against the wealthy and sophisticated Khwarezmian Empire in Central Asia. When the Khwarezm Shah arrogantly executed Mongol merchants and insulted Genghis Khan's envoys, the Khan responded with pure fury. Between 1219 and 1221, Mongol armies under Genghis and his brilliant general Subutai swept through the region like a hurricane. Cities such as Bukhara, Samarkand, and Nishapur were destroyed. Entire populations were massacred or enslaved. Rivers ran red. By the time Genghis Khan died in 1227, possibly from a hunting accident or illness, the Mongol Empire already stretched across an immense territory from the Caspian Sea in the west to the Pacific shores in the east. Genghis's third son, Ögedei, was chosen as the new Great Khan. Under his leadership, the Mongol war machine reached terrifying new heights. In the east, they finished off the remnants of the Yuan Dynasty. In the west, they launched one of the most shocking invasions in European history. In 1241, Mongol forces led by Subutai and Batu Khan crushed the Hungarian army at the Battle of Mohi, using advanced tactics, feigned retreats, and devastating arrow barrages. They then swept into Poland and reached the outskirts of Vienna. All of Europe trembled. Then, in a twist of fate that may have saved Western Europe, news arrived that Great Khan Ögedei had suddenly died. Mongol custom required the princes and generals to return home for the election of a new Khan. The invasion of Europe was called off. The most famous grandson of Genghis was Kublai Khan. In 1271, he proclaimed the Yuan Dynasty and established his capital at Khanbalik, today's Beijing. Kublai completed the conquest of southern China by defeating the Song dynasty in 1279, bringing all of China under Mongol rule for the first time. He attempted two massive naval invasions of Japan, both of which failed due to fierce Japanese resistance and devastating typhoons, events the Japanese called kamikaze, or divine winds. During Kublai's reign, the Silk Road flourished like never before. Merchants, ideas, technologies, and religions moved freely across the empire. The famous Venetian traveler Marco Polo spent many years at Kublai's court and later amazed Europe with his stories. At its absolute peak around the late 13th century, the Mongol Empire controlled approximately 24 million square kilometers, larger than the Roman Empire and the British Empire at their heights combined. After the death of Mongol Khan in 1259, the empire began to fracture into four major khanates: the Yuan Dynasty in China under Kublai and his successors, the Golden Horde in Russia and Eastern Europe, the Ilkhanate in Persia, Iraq, and the Middle East, and the Chagatai Khanate in Central Asia. While these khanates sometimes cooperated, they increasingly pursued their own interests. Over time, the Mongols began to adopt the cultures, religions, and administrative systems of the peoples they ruled. Many converted to Islam, Buddhism, or Christianity. They lost the pure, nomadic warrior spirit that had once made them nearly invincible. Heavy taxation, corruption, favoritism, and natural disasters led to growing unrest, especially in China. By the mid-14th century, the cracks had become fatal. In China, repeated floods, famines, and oppressive rule sparked the massive Red Turban Rebellion. In 1368, the Mongols were finally expelled from China by Zhu Yuanzhang, who founded the Ming dynasty. The Ilkhanate in Persia fragmented after converting to Islam and losing ties with the Mongolian homeland. The Golden Horde suffered terribly from the Black Death and endless internal power struggles. The final death blow came from Timur, also known as Tamerlane, a ruthless Turco-Mongol warlord who claimed descent from Genghis Khan. Between 1370 and 1405, Timur devastated the remaining Mongol successor states with even greater cruelty than the original Mongols had shown. By the early 15th century, the once mighty Mongol Empire had effectively disappeared as a major world power. Small khanates survived in Central Asia and the Crimea for a few more centuries. But the era of the world-conquering Mongol hordes was over forever.